Hello, this is Mr. Ahmed Khalifa. Today I'll spare no effort to explain one of the most problematic, embarrassing, and disruptive types of questions that are commonly tested in the SAT. I am well aware that many of the SAT students don't like these types of questions simply because sometimes they find them hard and other times they find them time consuming. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you will feel better off. Let us start. Today, we'll be discussing cohesion and organization. Okay, let us start. First, you need to ask yourself, am I following the exact wording of the questions? Did I read the question pretty well? So, read well and underline lead or keywords. Okay, that's one. Two, do the sentences or paragraphs from a logical transition. Form a logical transition with those before and after. And we talked before about transition means what? Shift. And this is what we call, ya shabab, huh? You remember? Coherence and cohesion even, okay? The relationship between sentences or the relationship between paragraphs. Let us go through the first one and define some terms here, cohesion and organization. Cohesion means what? The continuity from sentence to sentence, okay? The relationship between sentence to sentence with regards to style and what and content. Of course, the content is very important. We're still discussing the same issue in the following sentence and also the style and tone of writing. We have got organization, the logical presentation of ideas in the passage, especially with regards to what to sentence order. Okay, and let us discuss this now. Logical sequence of ideas. This is very important to learn. Think about it, please. Sentences should be positioned so that they flow seamlessly in a very smooth transition from a given sentence to the following sentence. As a general rule, ideas in a paragraph should go from general to specific and back to general. This is very important and I want people to underline it. Again, ideas in a paragraph should go from what, and I start the paragraph with general, then to specific, and back to general. وكأن في concluding sentence, it's going to be what? A general. And then there is a topic sentence, the initial sentence of the paragraph should be general. After the general sentence, in the introduction, we should follow it with what? With some specific details, as you can see here. Okay. First sentence of the paragraph states the general topic and central point of the paragraph. اللي احنا بنسميه يا شباب main idea of the paragraph. Fair enough? Perfect. Middle sentence of the paragraph provides specific details, analysis that are relevant to the topic and that support the central point of the paragraph. It also contains what it could also include sort of what examples. Fair enough. What about the last sentence of the paragraph? Restates. Restates means what? You still remember? Repeats. Repeats the general topic of what? Of the central of the paragraph, the initial topic, what? Topic sentence. Okay. Let's go through the form of these questions. But let us read this first. Sometimes the question asks where an existing sentence should be placed. And sometimes the question states that the writer plans to add a sentence and asks you where it should be placed. But these are the two types of questions. Of course, you are aware of this. يعني نقول إيه يا شباب؟ ها existing sentence where an existing sentence should be placed. الجملة اللي موجودة نحطها فين. Okay? And sometimes the question states that the writer plans to add a sentence. عايز جملة كاملة يضيفها. تعالوا نشوف the two types of questions without wasting time. And this is the first type of what? Of question. Here, question number one. To make this paragraph most logical, عشان أخلي الباراجراف ده أكثر منطقية, sentence 4 should be placed. This is one type of questions. The other type of questions هيجيب لي كده يا شباب a whole sentence to be what? Inserted somewhere. The writer wants to add the following sentence to the paragraph. The best placement for the sentence is immediately before sentence 1, after sentence 1, after sentence 2, after sentence 3. We have to read this pretty well because we don't have to read the whole sentences in the paragraph. Only what? 1 before and after, 2 after, and 3 after, okay? These are the types of questions that we're going to what? Have in the test. طيب تعالوا لي هنا very quickly. And let us go through this one. Jocelyn was a generally well-behaved girl. For me, this is what the topic sentence. Which is what يا شباب? Which is the general one. It is the general sentence. Sure, after this one, we're going to have what? Some specific details. Fair enough. What are the specific details? اللي هي she did her homework promptly, played nicely with her friends, and was respectful to her parents. وبعد كده في عندي في turn of direction in the paragraph, which is fine, لكن كمان it's also what? Full of details. تمام. The writer plans to add the following sentence. إيه هي الجملة? For instance, the example اللي هي المفروض تبقى supporting details. Sometimes Jocelyn would sneak out after dark. تهرب بعد الدنيا ما تظلم تهرب. Without her parents' permission. To climb the tree that she so dearly loved. تهرب برا البيت, تخرج برا البيت بالليل, and to climb in the tree what that she dearly loved. And the question is, to make this paragraph most logical, the sentence should be placed. That sentence should be placed where? After sentence 1, after sentence 2, after sentence 3, after sentence 4. يبقى we have got like what? Sentence 1, 2, 3, 4 وكلهم هنا يا شباب after, for that's fine. Okay, what do you think? Let us think about it this way. This sentence is positive or negative? For sure it is what? It is negative. Okay? So, if it is negative, sure, it would never come after sentence 1, which is quite positive. Why, teacher? Because simply sentence 1 says what? States that Jocelyn was a generally well-behaved girl. So that's completely what? Positive. For sure, I will never follow that sentence after sentence number 1. Type. She did her homework promptly, played nicely with her friends, and was respectful to her parents. Again, it's what? It's a positive one. So sentence 1 and 2, no way. Let's go to sentence number 3. 3, however. And however, as I always say, this is what? Turn of direction. Turn of direction 2. Which states what or implies what? Sort of what? Negativity here. After the positive, we're going to have what? Some negative. Sometimes she acts out of character, breaking the rules. That's negative. Okay? So simply that sentence which is negative should come after sentence number what? 3, as you can see here. Or sentence 4, after sentence 4. On these nights, she simply could not resist the temptation that, I mean, like what? You cannot put it here, that's for sure, or insert it here. So this is completely command A wrong. Fair enough. Let's go to this one. Sometimes the question will ask where to place a certain paragraph. لما يبقى paragraphs are numbered. The paragraph of the passage are numbered. In the context of what? Of the passage as a whole. In these cases, the same standards apply as those involving sentence what placement. Same thing. يعني placement paragraph is the same like what? Placement what sentences. But to tell you the truth, placement paragraph is going to be what? Much more challenging. Simply because sometimes people don't maybe care to understand the main idea of each paragraph. But if you have got numbered paragraphs, لو الباراجراف numbered عليه رقم, so what you need to do is that when you read a paragraph, keep in mind what each paragraph does. This will help you answer the questions about paragraph placement more aptly. Okay? تعالوا كده بقى. نتخيل ان احنا عندنا passage given that وباراجراف 1 لازم اكتب and I need to write as a what يا شباب as a note وهكتب كده as a note يا شباب وكاني I'm taking notes. In paragraph 1 introduces what? A museum. That's paragraph 1. وparagraph 2 describes the details of a specific exhibit. تفاصيل حاجة معروضة في الميوزيوم. Paragraph 3 introduces a specific exhibit within that museum. Paragraph 4 expands on the details of that exhibit, specific exhibit. Paragraph 5 mentions how museum visitors respond to the specific what? Exhibit. فكل paragraph has got what? A main idea. طيب. To make the passage most logical, paragraph 2 should be placed. هو paragraph 2 بيتكلم عن ايه؟ نروح راجعين كده حضراتكم تاني ونقول له ان paragraph 2 كان بيتكلم على remember describes the details of specific exhibit. وparagraph 3 بيتكلم عن ايه يا شباب؟ ليه احنا قلنا هنا after paragraph number 3؟ paragraph 3 بيتكلم على introduces a specific exhibit within that museum. يبقى that's more general. That's what يا شباب? More general than what? Than paragraph number 2. يعني paragraph number 3 talking about what? Specific exhibit within that museum. Okay. طيب paragraph 2 هيعمل ايه? He would describe, the writer would describe the details of that specific what exhibit in the museum. يبقى it makes sense and it is quite what يا شباب? It is quite logical to what? Add it after what? After paragraph 3. You understand the idea? So what you need to do is, if you have got like what paragraphs with numbers on top, what you need to do is to go through the paragraph very quickly and write the main idea of each paragraph. That would help you while you are doing other questions. That would help you save what? Save time. Okay? تعالوا كده بقى نروح هنا. Using your own understanding of what? Of the passage. Over the course of the passage, you must, okay, وانت بتقرا الباسج, what you need to do. Identify the main focus of the passage, main idea. Identify the more specific topics of the paragraphs. Understand the writer's stance, attitude, tone on the topic he or she has written about. Okay? Let's go here to these types of what? Questions and see by ourselves. This one. Clear? Green energy sources represent a valuable opportunity to improve the environment and maintain our current standard of living in a sustainable way. That's a very good general sentence. Fair enough? Then, and that's, as I said, general. وكمان يا شباب, it is the main idea of the whole what? Of the whole paragraph. Then, one of these green energy sources عندنا wind power, 1, solar power, 2, and even wave power. People understand what wind power is, what solar power is, but maybe wave power is a bit not clear for many people. راح عمل dash to dash, if you still remember, dash to dash, فهيبدأ يعمل explanation للwave power. What is wave power? فبدأ يعمل لها definition. What is wave power? يلا يا شباب. An emerging field that harnesses the kinetic energy of waves in the ocean. يبقى that's what يا شباب? That's a definition. Okay. The question now is that طبعا wave power, كل ال types of powers دي are growing sectors of energy economy and should not be what? Ignored. Fair enough. طيب, what is the question? Let us erase this first. يلا كده مع بعض. What is the question? The writer is considering, thinking of deleting the underlying portion. الجزء ده يعمل له deleting. Should the writer make this deletion or no? Of course, as I told you before, Wind power is clear for many people. Solar power, sun is clear. But wave power, huh, I think we need some modification. We need some definition for for the terminology wave power, right? ف it is very important الناس اللي بتروح ل yes or no. You shouldn't do this. You should write the reason as well. The reason is as important, I'm telling you. So we go for what يا شباب؟ we go for what؟ تاني الراجل بيفكر to delete it. Yes or no؟ تعالوا نشوف yes. Yes. Okay, if it is yes, because the underlying portion detracts from the paragraph's focus. Detracts from means what? Deviates. يعني not relevant, of course no. Forget about it. Yes, because the information in the underlying portion is provided in the previous sentence. No. So I have to go for no. But again, reading the reasons is as important as I always say. No, because the underlying portion defines بتعرف a term that's important to the passage. طبعا فين الترم يا شباب اللي هو الويف power, and that's the definition of what? Of the term. Thank you. Or so this is the one. Or no, because the underlying portion gives an example of a particular ocean that can efficiently, I mean, there is no example of oceans, that's for sure. With نفس الوقت, that was what? A definition. Okay, type. Let us read this, which I feel it is important for people to read with me. In the answer choices for these types of questions, the because is just as important as yes or no. Remember, carefully read all answer options before selecting one. If you use your knowledge of the entire passage, like لو انت you read the entire passage and you are aware of what the passage is all about, it is possible to predict the answer to be yes or no prior to process of what? Of elimination. طبعا you still can do this if you, but most of the students, they don't care that much about understanding the main idea of the whole passage, okay? طيب. Following instructions in the questions. Very important to follow instructions. Very important to read every word in the question. Very important to specify what are the sentences involved in the question. Right. Often questions will be worded as follows. The writer wants to do something. Which choice best accomplishes this goal means what? Achieves. Which choice does something? And let's go through this one. تعالوا هنا نروح بقى يا شباب ل another example. Yeah, I know it's an easy example, but that would help us what deal with the longer portions. Reading every day has many benefits. Okay, that's an introductory sentence, which is what? Very general. Okay, and what else? And quite very positive. And the question is, let us see it together. The question is, the writer wants to provide a specific example of a positive effect of reading every day. So, what we need to do in here, we are looking for what? Positive, only what? Positive effects. Fair enough. Which choice best accomplishes this goal? Okay, so A, reading every day, has many benefits. For me, A is wrong, simply because this is not an example, right? It's a very general what? It's a very general sentence. B, those who read often find that their eyesight is significantly improved. I mean, this is positive. I agree with you, but according to fact, this is not true. I mean, those who read too much, we know that their eyesight is affected. You understand what I mean? This is not true. Reading every day can mean that you have less time for other activities. That's a bit of what? Negative. So it does not reflect this one. So C is wrong. Reading daily has improved my IQ score by 10% points, okay? And I think this is what? Quite positive, and at the same time, It reflects what's in the what introductory or initial what sentence, okay? Type. To explain more, why did I choose D? Simply because A does not give a specific example. B does not specify reading every day. C does not give a positive effect, it was negative. And the right answer provides a specific positive effect, so we went for what? For D. Okay, let's go through this one here, and I think this one has to do with what? With being concise, concision. I don't know whether I have to do it right now, but that's fine, okay? Sometimes more than one answer option will make sense. In this case, pick the one that's most concise. So we need to go for what? Huh? You still remember? Huh? The three C's rule. What is it? You remember? Let us change color first. Number one, it has to be correct. Two, it has to be clear. Three, it has to be what? Concise. What does mean concise? Short. Okay? Let us read this one. Typically, the first begins to show evidence of browsing in early autumn. The first begins to show evidence of browsing in early autumn. This follows several weeks of deer population growth. And the question is, which choice most effectively combines the two sentences at the underlined portion? As we said, no place for repetition, no place for redundancy. Of course, we need to go for what? Correct, clear, and concise. So in that case, ya shabab, we have to go for what? For A, and it makes sense. So typically, the first begins to show evidence of browsing in early autumn, following several weeks of deer population. So A is correct. Why not B? Browsing. So browsing is here and browsing is there. So this is what? Simply repetition. Okay? Autumn and such browsing, again, repetition. Autumn and this evidence, okay? So again, evidence. So again, this is what? Repetition. Hopefully, you understand today the cohesion, organization, and by the end here, we've done here the concision. Thank you very much.